Hello everyone and welcome again to Minimalist Gourmet, where today I'll be teaching you how to make chicken fried chicken and a creamy chicken gravy. So let's go ahead and get started. If you've ever made chicken fried steak, well this is kind of similar in the process but tastes quite different. We're going to begin by taking our chicken breasts, or you can use chicken thighs, and pounding them thin. Wrap your piece of chicken up in a large sheet of plastic film, as you can see I'm doing here, and this really keeps everything a lot more sanitary and doesn't make a huge mess. Now, as far as pounding it out goes, well, I'm going to use a wine bottle because it's what I have on hand. However, you can use anything that'll work. A meat mallet, a heavy bottom pot, a rolling pin. You don't need to beat it that hard. Remember, it's a piece of chicken, not a piñata. Just take your time and gently strike all the surface of the chicken, making sure to get a nice even flatness across everything. Flip it over once again so that everything is the same thickness. You're looking to flatten this out until it's roughly double the size of when you started. And that looks a little something like this. My chicken breast here has doubled in surface area and reduced its thickness to about half of what it was before. That's exactly what we want. Go ahead and set that on a tray and set it aside as we continue on with the rest of the recipe. Before I build my dredge here, I'm going to go ahead and hit these chicken pieces with a little bit of salt on both sides, but only a little bit, as we're going to add salt to our dredge as well. Speaking of, we're going to begin our dredge here with a little bit of flour. I have about a cup and a half of just regular flour that I'm adding to a container. Followed up by a nice healthy dose of salt, some dried garlic, ground black pepper, and some paprika. Make sure to give this a nice mix before moving on to our wet side here, which is going to consist of 2 eggs, which we are going to beat thoroughly. Now for the dredging process, we start in the dry, go to the wet, and then go back to the dry again. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is take our chicken pieces here and coat them in the dry dredging mix. Now this time around, you definitely want to make sure to get everything completely coated on all surfaces, but you want to shake off any excess flour, okay? You don't want a really thick layer at this point. And go straight from the flour mixture into our wet dredge mixture. Again, you want to make sure to press it down and make sure all sides are completely coated in the wet batter. After you've completely coated your chicken in the wet batter, go ahead and pull it up and let it hang for a second to have any excess drip off before it goes straight back into the dry flour mixture. Now, unlike before, this round you're going to really press in the flour into your piece of chicken. You want to go ahead and really press it down, make sure that you get a nice thick layer built up over the entire surface. This is what's going to give you that nice crispy exterior when we fry it later. Pull up your piece of chicken here and go ahead and give it just a gentle shake before putting it onto your tray and moving on to bread the rest of your pieces. Once you have your pieces breaded, it's important that you let them sit on the tray at room temperature for about 10 or 15 minutes. This gives a chance for that crust to really set, which means that it won't fall off later when you're eating it after you fry it. Also, that 10 or 15 minutes is exactly as much time as we need to make the gravy. And speaking of the gravy, we're going to begin by melting 5 tablespoons of butter over medium heat. Now, you could add 5 tablespoons of just regular flour, but we have this dredging mixture here, which is flour mixed with seasoning. So I like to use this as it brings a little extra flavor to the party. Go ahead and sprinkle in 5 tablespoons of flour over your melted butter, and we're going to go ahead and begin to stir that until it completely integrates. You want to cook this on that medium heat for about 2 to 3 minutes to cut out any of that raw flavor that might be there from the flour. And to this, you're going to add 1 cup of chicken stock. I am adding 1 cup of water with enough chicken bouillon to make that into stock here, but the bouillon didn't really dissolve very well. Followed by 1 cup of whole milk. Go ahead and stir that in until it's very well integrated and allow it to come up to temperature. Once it begins to simmer, the roux will thicken this liquid nicely. All you need to do is double check to make sure that your seasoning is as you like it and it's as thick as you like it. Once it's done here, go ahead and turn off the heat and let it set aside while we fry our chicken. Heat enough oil to come about halfway up your piece of chicken over medium to medium-high heat. Gently place your chicken into the heated oil away from you to avoid any splashes. You're going to fry on this first side here for about 3 to 4 minutes. And after about 3 or 4 minutes of cooking here, you can see some liquid has come to the surface, and that is a very good indication that it's time to flip. Once again, as you flip these pieces, make sure that you flip them away from you to avoid any splashes and having any problems. We're going to go ahead and cook them for an additional 3 to 4 minutes on this second side. After a total cooking time of about 6 to 9 minutes, our chicken is ready to be pulled. Go ahead and pull out your fried chicken pieces and put them on some paper towels and allow them to drain. Now you're going to want to let these sit for about 5 to 7 minutes at room temperature to allow all of those juices on the inside to completely redistribute and set before eating. And after the 5 longest minutes of my life waiting, this chicken is finally ready to eat. Now, when it comes to serving, there's really nothing more traditional than serving this with a side of mashed potatoes, of course, a vegetable to be healthy, and that absolutely gorgeous gravy that we made. This gravy belongs all over the top of this chicken as well as all over the top of those mashed potatoes, so don't be shy. And guys, it is just that simple to make this classic American comfort food at home in your own kitchen tonight. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope to see you all here again real soon for another episode of Minimalist Gourmet.